Hello, you're watching Shalom World News. I'm Rudy McLennan coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. Pope Francis said on Sunday that he was praying for all those who perished in an earthquake that shook southern Ecuador. At least 16 people lost their lives and many are trapped beneath the rubble. During the Sunday Angelus, the Holy Father assured his prayers and solidarity with all those who perished and those who were injured. The epicenter of the quake is about 80 kilometers south of the city of Guayaquil. Search and rescue operations are going on to pull out all those who are trapped beneath the rubble. Ecuador is prone to tremors, and in 2016, an earthquake rocked the north of the country, leaving 600 dead. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has promised to boost child allowances and paid paternal leave in a bid to stem the dipping population. Like many developed nations, Japan is waging a struggle against dipping birth rates for years. There were fewer than 800,000 births last year. Prime Minister Kishida said that the country was on the verge of being able to function as a society. He said it was his wish to create a society where young people can marry and raise children. He unveiled steps like increased allowances for younger children and efforts to boost wages for young workers and bring down the cost of higher studies. In the American state of Wyoming, a bill banning the use or prescription of abortion pills was signed into law on Friday by Republican Governor Mark Gordon. The legislation prohibits the prescription, dispensation, sale, and utilization of any medicine for the sake of obtaining an abortion. Those who violate the new law will be charged with criminal misdemeanor and could receive a maximum penalty of $9,000 and up to 6 months in jail. Abortion will only be allowed if it is to protect the health of the mother or in cases of rape or incest. Catholic Charity Aid to the Church in Need has offered to provide more than $550,000 to help Christians in quake-hit Syria repair their homes and pay for rent and living expenses. This comes a month after devastating earthquakes shook southern Turkey and northern Syria, killing more than 50,000 people. According to Xavier Bisitz, head of ACN Syria Project, Christians who feel neglected by the United Nations and other global outfits have no option but to seek the help of the Church. The Joint Committee of Christian Churches in Latakia will receive $250,000 from ACN in order to repair more than 250 destroyed homes. At present, churches, monasteries, and church buildings are being used to house homeless Christians. The International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant against Russian President Vladimir Putin for allegedly ordering the abduction of children from Ukraine. The ICC alleged that Putin was responsible for the unlawful deportation of children from the occupied areas in Ukraine to Russia. Meanwhile, both Slovakia and Poland have confirmed they are delivering fighter planes to Ukraine in spite of Moscow's warning that doing so would intensify the conflict in Eastern Europe. The Vatican's charged affairs of Nicaragua's Apostolic Nunciature, Monsignor Marcel Mbaye Diouf, has left the country and shifted base to neighbouring Costa Rica. The Nicaraguan government had requested the Holy See's diplomatic office to close the nunciature. As per the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, the custody of the Apostolic Nunciature and its assets was handed over to the Italian Republic. Monsignor Diouf was seen off by diplomatic representatives of the European Union, Germany, France, and Italy, who are accredited to Nicaragua. The Latin American nation snapped ties with the Holy See after Pope Francis chided the Sandinista regime by comparing it to the Nazi dictatorship. Last year, the Nicaraguan regime expelled the Apostolic Nuncio and the missionaries of charity nuns. Pope Francis presided over a 24 hours for the Lord penitential service at Rome's Santa Maria delle Grazie al Trionfale parish on Friday afternoon. The pontiff stressed the universal nature of the initiative, which consists of prayer and reconciliation. He reminded believers not to be like the Pharisee who considered himself better than others and thus closed himself off to God. Started by Pope Francis himself 10 years ago, this liturgical celebration takes place in all dioceses across the world on the eve of the fourth Sunday of Lent in preparation for Easter. In Portugal, the capital city Lisbon and other cities witnessed pro-life marches in which believers voiced their opposition to an attempt of lawmakers to legalize euthanasia. This came a few days before the Parliament debates and puts to a vote a new text on legalizing euthanasia. The marches were conducted by the Portuguese Federation for Life. Last month, a similar bill was vetoed by President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa. On December the 9th of last year, the Assembly of the Republic approved a bill that legalizes euthanasia, but the President sent it to the Constitutional Court for consideration. In January, the court said it was unconstitutional. However, 15 leaders of 4 political outfits said that a revised bill will be debated and put to a vote on the 31st of March. In Pakistan, the 7th national census has got underway, and this time it is being conducted online. Among details that citizens need to fill in online is an item pertaining to their faith. In this regard, Christians of all denominations are working to inform believers on how to register online and indicate what their faith is. Catholic bishops, Protestant pastors, and Christian social leaders and workers have given an appeal to do everything possible so that all believers are correctly registered. They have told their congregations also to help the less privileged Christians with the registration process. The Global Human Rights Defense hosted a discussion on human rights in Pakistan recently. It was attended by 96 special envoys from the Netherlands, Mexico, Ukraine, Italy, Australia, Poland, and Costa Rica. During the discussion, the issue of rights activists not getting access to the United Nations because of visa regulations came up. General Secretary of the World Sindhi Congress, Laku Lubana, pointed to the silent genocide of the Sindhi Hindus in Pakistan's Sindh province. He accused the government of the Muslim-majority nation of trying to use recent devastating floods to silently exterminate the community. The disappearances of people in Balochistan, especially activists and extrajudicial killings in the rest of the region, were discussed by Dr. Nasir Dashti, the executive president of the Baloch HR Council. Data from the European Parliament Research Service and Eurostat indicates that most people from the 27 member countries of the European Union are living longer but not having children compared to previous decades. Although the overall population went up from 354.5 million in 1960 to 447.7 million in 2020, the number of births is dipping constantly. According to the projection of Eurostat, the total population will plateau at around 525 million in 2044 before coming down to 416.1 million by 2100. It was concluded that millennials and Generation Z in Europe are having fewer children. The US Customs and Border Patrol has announced that it has blocked imported goods from China worth $500 million from entering its ports. It is suspected that they have been totally or partially manufactured using Uyghur forced labor. Acting Commissioner of US Customs and Border Protection Troy Miller launched a website that tracks shipments blocked due to forced labor. He said that last year alone, 3,600 plus shipments from around the world were blocked, and they contain goods worth around $816 million US. He said that from China alone, 1,910 shipments were blocked before February the 26th of this year, and their worth is close to $500 million. They were blocked under the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act. In Spain, the Association of Municipalities of the Camino de Compostela released figures of the pilgrimage to the celebrated shrine of St. James the Apostle. Close to 350,000 people travelled to Santiago de Compostela last year. As many as 71% of people said they took the walk for health and leisure purposes. The total number of visitors in 2022 itself surpasses the number of people who undertook the trek between 1970 and 2003. In Britain, a Christian theologian was fired by a Methodist Bible college for tweeting his opposition to homosexuality. Dr. Aaron Edwards was fired by Cliff College in Derbyshire in England for bringing the college into disrepute on social media last month. On the 19th of February, he said on Twitter that homosexuality was invading the church, and evangelicals no longer see the severity of this as they are busy apologizing for homophobia. His comments went viral on social media, inviting a backlash. The professor replied that the acceptance of homosexuality as not sinful was a doctrinal invasion. London-based Christian Legal Centre is providing legal help to the professor. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us again tomorrow for more. Do remember in the meantime, you can visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.